Leidesdorff was a Danish citizen when he came to New Orleans in 1829. William Leidesdorff's father was a wandering seaman who was born in the Danish seaport town of Altona on the Elbe River. Altona was one of the Danish monarchy's most important harbor towns until 1864, when it became a suburb of Hamburg, Germany. Portuguese Jews living in the Hamburg area were prohibited from burying their dead in the city. So they bought land for a cemetery in Altona in 1611, and eventually Jewish families started moving into the area. Leidesdorff Sr. lived in New Orleans during his youth in the early 1800s, and it is the city where he met his wife, Anna Maria Spark, who was a mulatto Cuban with some Haitian blood, living among the large population of free persons of color in the city. New Orleans was a sparkling international city of many cultures in the early 1800s, having been a part of Spain and France alternately from its founding in 1718. There was no rival in North America to the city's cultural mix, or cuisine and food choices, or its live and let live attitude for people's artistic expressions, especially in music. Alex and Anna's romance blossomed in New Orleans. During the time when French gentlemen settled their differences under the magnificent grand oaks, with pistols for two and champagne for one. Creoles were mostly the French Canadians who lived in central Louisiana. Creoles were also people of color with some mixture of Haitian, African, Spanish, or French blood who lived mostly in the New Orleans area. Mulattoes were those who were a mixture of blacks and Europeans who lived in the city. All of the groups worked and lived together, side by side. Many were professionals and artisans. Things changed significantly after France sold the Louisiana Territory to the United States in 1803, when the influx of Americans brought in the slave trade, and with it, overt color and class racism.
My grandfather said they put his mom on a platform and said it was, they was bidding, who the best ones, and they get up and feel them, so they would feel the muscles of the arm and leg, and he said, and that's where he sold them, and he said that was the last time he saw his mama. Precious Lord. Indeed,
Leidesdorff and Spark moved sometime before 1810 to the Danish West Indies island of St. Croix, where William was born. The father sent William and his siblings to Copenhagen, Denmark, for several years of schooling. Leidesdorff Sr. became the foreman for a sugarcane plantation on the island that was owned by an Englishman. The Englishman took the quick-learning young Leidesdorff under his wing and taught him the business, and eventually recommended him to his brother in New Orleans, who needed help managing his cotton plantation. William was only 19 years old when he arrived in New Orleans.
How could you not tell us that?
Hortense's father called off the marriage.
Le diable surgit devant eux.
Hortense's prominent family claimed membership in New Orleans high society with a lineage dating back to King Louis XIV of France. Instead of the wedding being the social event of the year, it became the New Orleans social crash of the decade. Leidesdorff was crestfallen. Hortense's heart was broken beyond repair, and she died within weeks. The Marjorie family priest visited Leidesdorff shortly after the funeral and placed in his hand a small golden cross that he promised Hortense he would deliver to him, along with the words,
"Tell him I loved him until death."
Leidesdorff closed his fist around the small cross, fell to the floor on his knees, crawled into a ball, and wept uncontrollably. Leidesdorff's foster father in St. Croix died during this period. His foster father's brother in New Orleans died during this period. He was the only heir to the two Englishmen. Leidesdorff sold everything in both St. Croix and New Orleans and bought a schooner, Julia Ann, and became a sea trader for 10 years. In 1841, he landed in California, San Francisco, and he would make California his home. By 1840, it was a general belief that extending American civilization westward was God's will. It was this thinking which was the basis for Manifest Destiny, the national policy to push the boundary of the United States all the way to the West Coast.